Hello, Father Sean Hagerty here, your pastor of Pastorate 6, giving you a quick update on Set Ablaze pastoral planning process for this month in November. Let's get started. The first is, let's do a quick review. As you recall, I came in July as your pastor, along with our other 3 priests, and then the bishop put us together as one pastorate. Pastorate 6 is what he called us, and we have 7 parishes in our pastorate. The 2 in Watertown, Crantsburg, Henry, Clark, Florence, Bryant. We're all together as one. And since we are together, the bishop has asked for me as the pastor to lead all of us in looking at how can we work together as one pastorate, and how do we see ourselves working together, not just right now, but in a 10-year period and beyond. And so to achieve this task of how we can work together, the bishop has asked me to put together a planning committee, a pastoral planning committee, and I've done that. And there's 20 members, 2 representatives from each parish. You can see here again the names of them in case you forgot who is on that committee. That committee and I, along with the priests, we've all been meeting twice a month. We met twice in September, twice in October, and we're meeting in November, and we'll continue to meet until we have a plan put together on May 1st to present to the bishop. And then that plan will be implemented beginning on July 1st. One of the things that are major of note is that we will no longer have 4 priests, but we'll have 3 priests serving our area. And we'll have to look at how to best serve our area with not having 4, but having 3 priests. Again, this is part of the committee's task, is to present ideas on this. So the committee, we've been meeting, and the bishop wants us as a committee to focus on 5 areas: worship, discipleship and evangelization, community, service, and if we have a school, our Catholic schools. So we've been looking at these 5 areas, and for each area the bishop wants us to do 4 things. The first is, so for example, worship, we would first look at where are we at currently? How do we assess ourselves right now as a pastorate and in our parishes? What are our gifts? What are our talents? What do we feel is our strengths? Where do we feel like our weaknesses are at? And then the next part is, where do we want to go? How do we want to see ourselves 10 years from now? We know there's been a steady decline of faith throughout our whole nation, and we don't want to see that steady decline continue. We want to reverse that trend. So where do we want to go? How do we want to dream big? Maybe we want to dream about fuller masses, long lines of confession. The list can go on. And then after we do that, then we want to ask, how do we get there? How do we actually make this happen? That's the real nuts and bolts of the whole plan. How do we get there? And then lastly, we need to assess, is this working? Is what we decided to do and how to get there, is it really working? Or do we need to have a new plan or adjust the plan that we have? And so as a committee, we've been doing that, looking at those 5 areas and asking these 4 questions of each area. But right now, we've been focusing on just the first 2 areas, worship and discipleship and evangelization, and focusing on those first 2 questions of where are we at and where do we want to go. And we want to present to you in our first town hall meeting, this coming within the next week and a half, present to you what we've come up with as a committee. And our town hall meetings are Sunday afternoon, November 12th at 2 p.m. at Immaculate Conception Church, and then also at Holy Name on Tuesday evening, November 14th at 7 p.m. They're the exact same meetings, so you can go to either or. We got options for you to attend. And again, as a committee, we'll be presenting what our assessment is of where we're at with our worship and our discipleship and evangelization, and where do we want to go. But we don't know all the answers, but that's why we want to talk to you and hear from you on your thoughts with that, so we can integrate it into the plan of where you think we're at and where we're called to go. In order to help you, when you come to the town hall meetings, I'm going to give you some homework. I want you to go on the diocesan website of Set Ablaze. Just type in Set Ablaze Sioux Falls, Google it, and you're going to find 4 videos here from our bishop that he published. It's really those 4 same areas that I talked about. The current reality, like where are we at? How do we respond? Like where do we want to go? And then hope for the future. That's how do we get there? And then last is the new Pentecost. What's the results of what we are doing? So I invite you to watch these videos. And in fact, I'm going to be sending them out, flock note, a video out almost every day, because not only am I going to send out these videos, but the bishop also has 18 other smaller videos sent out that talk about those 5 areas, again, of worship, discipleship and evangelization, community service, and then schools. So those videos will be sent out pretty much almost every day through Flocknote and posted on our Facebook page as well from now until our town hall meetings to prepare us for that town hall meeting. Now, I mentioned our Facebook page, so let's take a quick look at my Facebook page here. The Facebook page here that we have for Pastorate 6. I'm going to pull it on up here. Pastorate 6 Facebook page right here is Pastorate 6 Facebook page. So I invite you to like us so that you can follow us on Facebook. We're going to try to use this more often. And you may notice too, it says Pastorate 6 is our name. But you know what? We can do better than that. And the bishop wants us to give ourselves a name as a pastorate. So over the next 2 weeks, there's going to be an invitation to you as well through Flocknote emails. We'll be sending out a survey just talking about our possible names, inviting you to give your input of what you think would be a good name for our pastorate that really summarizes this whole region, all these 7 parishes together, all the patron saints of each parish. Like, what's something that could synthesize us all together as one name and unify us as one name? So we'll be doing that, and I'd like to announce it, if possible, at our Turkey Bingo. Yeah, that's right, Turkey Bingo on November 19th. And that's going to be at Holy Name. And there's also a pie auction there, so I'd like to invite you to come to Turkey Bingo. I'll be there, as well as Father Fisher, Father Christopher, Father Richard Baumberger. We're all going to be there trying to win a turkey, probably calling some numbers too. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's our second pastorate event, so come on out and get to know one another. It's important for us to get to know one another. If we're going to work together as a pastorate, we have to spend time with one another and getting to know one another. It's a Sunday afternoon. A lot of times we have time to go do that, so come on out to Holy Name, especially before it gets too cold and it's hard to travel. And maybe you can win that Thanksgiving turkey. All right. Lastly, I want to invite you to turn to prayer even more than ever. You know, I mentioned there's a decline in our faith and people are not living out their faith. This whole Set Ablaze pastoral planning process is trying to disrupt that trend of a decline in faith. Because we have a decline in faith, we have people not going to church. Because we have people not going to church, we're losing vocations. We're not having guys answer the priesthood or religious life. So we need to not just address the reality of fewer priests, but we need to address the bigger reality that people are not practicing their faith. And so we need to be praying, because that's the number one way we practice our faith. If we ourselves who are showing up to Mass every Sunday aren't praying, then we're missing the boat of what this is all about, is that we are each called to be disciples of the Lord, to follow Him more and more closely with our own lives. And so I really encourage you as your pastor to rededicate yourself to your prayer life, to spending time with the Lord in prayer, and then maybe spending a little more time coming to the church, wherever the church is that you're at, and praying and asking the Lord for wisdom for the future ahead. One of the intentions I'd like for you to pray for is the hiring of the pastorate level positions. The bishop has asked, as I've mentioned other times, that as a whole pastorate of 7 parishes, he wants us to have 3 employee positions at the minimum that would help to oversee the whole pastorate. And those 3 positions are a business manager, who would oversee all employees and volunteers in all 7 parishes. We would also have a director of discipleship and evangelization that would oversee all education of the faith and also different events helping us to grow in our faith throughout all 7 parishes, and coordinating opportunities for us to work together. And they'd manage all of the employees and volunteers in that endeavor. And then lastly, we have a facilities manager who would then also oversee all of our custodians and those who maintain our churches, who keep them clean, whether they're employees or volunteers. And so I'm going to be getting the interviews over next week and beyond. And hopefully by December, we'll have a lot of these positions hired, and they'll begin in the positions either before Christmas or after Christmas. So pray that we get the right people for these positions. These are very, very important positions in the church. The bishop wants me as pastor to delegate a lot of responsibilities out to them so that I'm not having to do administration and management all the time, as a pastor, but I can focus on the vision for the pastorate and just focus on ministry for working with our people and also enabling our other priests to do the same. So pray that we get the good people to apply, people who are not just competent for the role, but also have deep, deep faith in our Lord and our praying. So let us pray. God bless you. Know my prayers for you, and we'll see you at the town hall meetings and also at the turkey bingo. God bless you. Know my prayers, and see you soon.